The PA, the Palestinian Authority, is due to collapse any day. This would mean one less terror group for Israel to deal with. But no, the Biden administration believes this terror group is better than all the other terror groups and should be king of them all. Well, the problem is that many Israelis, including Israeli politicians, think otherwise. So the Biden administration has now thrown out a new plan. They can save the cruel PA terrorist regime by sanctioning Israelis. That's right, sanctioning government officials that stand in their way. Okay, I know that sounds absolutely absurd, but unfortunately, it's true. We'll break it all down right now. I'm Joshua, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda. You should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Before we dive in, guys, the month of June, we are doing a big raffle. It's a big giveaway. Guys, just click that link in the description below here, and you can join our email list to sign up for that. We've got a huge selection of our merch set aside just for you, the winner. So do that and be a part of our June giveaways. Guys, as mentioned before, the PA, thank God, we've got an opportunity here in front of us to see a terrorist organization rid from the world. But the big problem is the U.S. administration, current administration, is attempting to save them. We're going to really get into what's going on behind the scenes here, because there's a lot of behind the scenes with this situation. So because of all the financial gifts from around the world that have propped up the Palestinian Authority for so long have been pulled away because Israel's actually in charge of those funds, we're seeing a potential collapse, which would be amazing to see a collapse of a terrorist organization. The problem is that the United States sees them as a good terrorist organization. Now, to really understand how that could even be possible and how somebody could see a terrorist as a good is really unconceivable in my mind, and hopefully in yours as well. Let's dig into this. The executive orders that were signed by the president, Joe Biden, back in February. This was the beginning of the current administration's plan to demonize the Jews and stabilize and create their Palestinian state. So I'll quote a little bit of the executive order. This is an executive order against the actions of, and I'll quote, that threaten the peace, security, and stability of the West Bank. So in my mind, the ones that are threatening the peace, security, or stability of the West Bank would be the terrorist entities that are operating here. Unfortunately, the Biden administration does not see them as the problem. Who's the problem? The problem is the Jewish pioneers that are coming back to their ancient homeland called, for anybody that would like to look at history, it's called Judea. It's called Samaria. It's called Jerusalem. They like to use the word, as you heard earlier in the quote, West Bank. Just completely rid the historical significance of the area, name it something that it's not. The West Bank is a very new term, political term, to disguise the area as an area that it's not. This is what we have now. So they're rejecting the facts that the real problem lies with terrorists, not to Jewish people.
It says, I will bring you in from the four corners of the earth, and people will know that you are my people and that I am your God.
Discover for yourself the miracle of the land and the courageous hearts of the people of Israel.
I am 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 Israel.
Visit IamIsraelFilm.com to begin your journey.
It's available right now on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital download. I Am Israel is an epic film that will take you on a cinematic journey through the land of the Bible. You'll meet Jewish men and women whose lives are a testimony to the promises of God. And you'll see with your own eyes the miraculous rebirth of the Promised Land. Screened in over 10,000 congregations worldwide, it's the award-winning film about Israel, made for Christians. Visit IamIsraelFilm.com or click the link in the description below to get your copy today. So this is the actions, those that threaten the peace, security, or stability of the region are now going to be sanctioned. Are there any sanctions against terrorist organizations? No. Unfortunately, the United States, I mean, there are some things about, but not the Palestinian Authority. Of course, there's sanctions against some known terrorist organizations, but the Palestinian Authority should be added to that list of sanctioned people, not taken away from that list. This is a known terrorist group, and they're in charge in this Judea and Samaria region, the Jerusalem, Judea and Samaria region. Now, the order mostly has been targeted, and there are Israelis that have already been sanctioned. We've talked about that, and you're probably aware of that already. Who are the Israelis that have been sanctioned thus far? Mostly farmers. Make any sense? No. These are farmers. Not one of them has any criminal records from their past. They're clean citizens of Israel. These are the people that the Biden administration is putting these orders, these executive orders against, sanctioning them. Because why? If they're not a criminal, why are you sanctioning them? And the real reason goes to the fact that they're in the way. That's the Biden administration. They're in the way of the Biden administration goals of creating a two-state solution and creating that king terrorist organization called the Palestinian Authority. That whole ideology is shaky right now because they could lose the player that they're trying to play the game with, and that's the Palestinian Authority, the terrorist entity, the Palestinian Authority. So let's get this under. The Biden administration wants to empower the terrorist, Palestinian Authority. They want to give them the state, and then they want to pay them, the ones that actually achieve the cruel goal of taking out Jews. They will pay them money. Yes, I just said that. That's actually the step-by-step plan the Americans are doing now to ensure the King terrorist organization receives their state, receives the empowerment of the international community, and achieves their goals of ridding this area of Jews. That's the partnership going on right now. Be clear about that. And against the Jews, so that's their partnership with the Arabs. Against the Jews, sanctions. Let's take away their land. And let's demonize them, not give them empowerment and support from the international community. Let's demonize them on an international community. And those are the three things we're seeing on both sides right now. And as we've said, those that are the real push of this whole administrative attack against the communities of Judea and Samaria is targeted those that are holding the land. Illegally? No, not illegally. According to Israeli law, all of these Israelis are not breaking any laws. They're not criminals according to Israel. So the Biden administration is demonizing these and criminalizing these, not according to Israeli law. These people live in Israel. They're Israeli citizens. They're not citizens. So this is the problem. Now, the Biden administration, and what we're here to talk about now, is they are upping the game, not only to attack farmers and those that stand in their way, but now to achieve their goal of a two-state solution and make King Palestinian PA terrorist the rulers of this land. How are they going to do that? They have to not only attack farmers, they have to go at Knesset members, ministers in the government of Israel to achieve that goal. And that's what they're attempting to do now. Let's outline this. The minister of Knesset, Bezalel Smotrich, is now being considered on the chopping block for a sanction. Why? What did he do? The farmers, what did they do? Well, we just talked about it. They're standing in the way. So what is Smotrich doing? He's standing in the way big time because he's the reason for the potential collapse of the Palestinian Authority right now. How is he doing that? Well, he's doing a very good thing. Money that's collected by taxes, because this Palestinian state does not actually exist, like some of you might think actually exists, it's a farce. It's an international campaign. It's an attack, a delegitimization against Israel on Israeli lands. This is a farce. So what he's done is he's withheld funding that was intended to go to them, but because they themselves misuse those funds and have committed that they will pay the salaries of those that harm, even kill Jews, they will pay their salaries first. Israel says, no, you will not do that. And we will not allow that to happen within our country, within our territories around us. We will not enable you to educate terrorists that the best way they can make a salary this month is to go out and commit such a heinous crime. We'll not allow that. Bezalel Smotrich now is the one that's saying no to this heinous act. And because of that, the American administration says we should sanction who? The one who stopped the funding to the criminals. It almost sounds like America is becoming more and more of a criminal in itself. The fact that America allows this funding and is pressuring Israel to allow this funding is actually illegal according to international law. The Americans are also bound by law, the Taylor Force Act, not to give funds and not to allow funds to the Palestinian Authority, remember this terrorist group, if it allows those funds to go to terrorists that are harming and hurting Jews, killing Jews. Because of this fact, this is illegal in America. America is overrunning the legal process of this right now and is wanting Israel to also do the illegal thing of allowing these funds to continue. The illegal player is the Palestinian Authority paying its citizens to harm Jews. Fair enough. The Biden administration supports it. They support the war on Israel. They would like to see the salaries of these terrorists paid, and they full well know what these terrorists are doing, and they full well know that these salaries are going to them by their by those that are in charge of this unit. So I'll quote this. The U.S. official says, I quote, "These funds cannot continue to be held for ransom. They belong to the Palestinians." What kind of rhetoric is this? The American administration, officials within that organization, with the American administration, the Biden administration, are saying that these funds are being held ransom. What kind of gang are we a part of? What kind of gang is wanting funds to be released to those that are harming Jews? Why? This is insane that these funds are going to have to be released in order to save the terrorists. Oh my gracious, what kind of harm are we got? And already to date, the American administration, current administration, has already boycotted Bezalel Smotrich, as well as Ben-Gvir, these two ministers in the Israeli Knesset that stand against these type of practice. They stand against the harm of Jews. They stand against the harm of fellow citizens of Israel. And they say no to this nonsense, this gang-like nonsense. And because of this, they're boycotted by the American administration. And because they're not going along with their saving of the King PA to be the king of all terrorist organizations in Israel, because they disagree with America on that, like any of you should, they're the ones that are now on the block to be sanctioned by the U.S. In conclusion, will the terrorist run Palestinian Authority finally crumble? Or will the United States prop them up again and make them the king terror unit over all of Judea and Samaria? And if they get what they want, they also want them to rule over Gaza. Will that happen? We don't know. Will the U.S. sanction the Israeli minister of Knesset, Bezalel Smotrich? We don't know. That plan has been spoken about. We don't know if that will happen yet. And will the U.S. continue this 57-year-old idea that it's a good idea that we have yet another Arab state right in the heart of Israel? And I would add terror state right in the middle of Israel. A 57-year-old idea that has failed at every single level. Will they continue? Looks like they are. All of this while Israel faces one of its greatest threats in its history. War in Gaza is not the big threat. Lebanon, the issue of Lebanon is massive. The issue of the Arab world surrounding Israel at this moment is critical. All of this from America that supposedly supports Israel, while Israel faces existential threats. This is what America has to offer. We'll see what happens. Guys, once again, it does seem pretty obvious that the U.S. is shifting away from its defense and defending of Israel, moving towards full support and defense of Israel's enemies. That's hard to say. We see that move happening. We see it in the policies. We see a little bit of support Israel. We see a little bit of support for Israel, but on the other hand, we see support massively on the other side. All of this needs to be taken in context. Guys, that's enough for today. Last 3 things I want you to do. Check out that I Am Israel film, IamIsrael.com. Go grab that film. You'll be blessed. You'll be inspired. IamIsrael.com, or just jump down to that link in the description below. Get your film today. Join our email list and receive our merch package. Guys, it's only a few more days. Do that right away. And lastly, do not forget to subscribe and get that conversation going down in the link below. As always, tune out the fake news and tune in to what is actually happening here in Israel's heartland. We'll be back every Monday through Friday with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.